The very first time I came to Vertical Adventures was years ago, like, I don't know, 15 plus years ago maybe. And at the time, I think it was the only climbing gym in Winnipeg.
Well, honestly, my first impression when I walked through that door was, damn, it smells like feet in here. But other than after that, I was like, wow, this place is pretty cool.
And so I'd seen it before, but I'd never done it, of course. So walking in here, it was a ton of fun.
I really came to Vertical Adventures on a consistent level about 2 years ago because of my job here. I got hired on here just as a front desk attendant, eventually became a manager. But yeah, when I first came in the door 2 years ago, it was a super warm community, which was kind of appealing. It can be really hard to just jump into a new sport and be alone there and not really know what's going on. So it was really cool to be welcomed by like many different smaller groups that are all part of this bigger group.
I think stemming from Winnipeg being this landlocked prairie province, per capita, we don't have a lot of climbers here compared to some of the other provinces. And I think part of that, with the stereotypical friendly Manitoba, that brings our community really close.
There's no hiding it. It's an older building, it's a bit grungy. It hasn't been new and shiny in like never since I've seen it.
It was always a goddamn mess in here. The floor, like you'd fall in the ground and you'd be kind of brown, like you'd have dirt on your arms, right? Like the cave here was dark. All these lights, just like this whole gym was dark.
So definitely when I first came in, especially as an employee here, I was like, oh man, like how can we keep this place clean, etc. It's still part of the goal is to keep it tidier, but we're not aiming to be like shiny or glossy or anything like that, so yeah.
Yeah, I grew up small town, southern Manitoba, with obviously nothing like this around. I grew up skateboarding. People around me grew up snowmobiling, farming, stuff like that. So there was no exposure to the outdoor activity world, hiking, paddling, any of that kind of stuff. And so yeah, walking in here, it was just, you're just kind of in awe of what's going on, and it's like, this is really cool.
Dan's like probably the old man that kicks around now. Dan started climbing before I started climbing. Yeah, Dan's been a huge contribution to the community for years. These comps couldn't be what they are without having somebody like Dan. He fixes all kinds of shit here too. He's an electrician, so like lights, sockets. The fire inspector needs something, he comes in and gives me a new electrical part.
I do bouldering, 99% bouldering, and I like that hard movement on the short route, and for whatever reason, it just stuck with me.
Prairie Pump is our fall competition. It is the only rope and bouldering competition that we have.
Preparations for Prairie Pump start months ahead of time, and the week of the comp is when the real work starts.
If you walked in when we're in the middle of prepping for it, you would just see ladders and holds and bolts everywhere. There is a method to the madness. We do have a chart and like a design of what we want, but if you're there in the middle of it, you wouldn't be able to see that there's any organizing to the mess there.
It's a war zone. Yeah, there's like holds everywhere, and you got like a little bit of white holds here, a little bit of like pink ones over there. We all know what we're working on, but you don't touch those ones, but it's just a mess.
And then we set 50 plus routes, a mixture of bouldering and rope routes to get ready for the Saturday.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. There's the top rope adds another element of work because you have ladders and you're either hooked up to the top there and you're sitting up there all day. And we do half and half, so 25 boulders, 25 rope, and it's quite a bit of setting.
Semi-hopeful, organized chaos. There's the open area in the front of the gym where the concrete is covered in sets of holds arranged by color and style. And then there's buckets of bolts and screws, and power tools spread throughout the gym. And as the nights go on, it just spreads everywhere.
Just before 11. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so Jesslyn's our manager. She takes care of basically everything in here. I don't always have the time to be here, and Jesslyn's the one that kind of makes sure everything doesn't go to shit. She's the organization. She's basically what organized like 95% of the comp, getting everybody here at the time they have to be, getting them ready to set, making sure that the days were closed so that we have that ability to set freely. Yeah, but it would fall apart without her. I don't have the time, and she's fantastic.
Competitions are fantastic. I think the first thing they do is they bring the community together. So there are all these different gyms, all these different climbers. Maybe we never interact with half of them just because of the type of climbing that we do or different gyms that we go to. So to bring everyone together and see like, oh yeah, there's like other strong women climbing, like that's amazing to see what Winnipeg has to offer. And it's fun to compete, it's fun to like see how you measure up against someone else, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's just fun to come together and climb.
Oh, it's always a party. Prairie Pump always feels like a party. I think that is what makes it the most fun, is that you're there trying hard, you're competing, but you also are just messing around with friends or people you know.
It's a little bit smaller. You kind of have to get into each other's physical spaces as you're climbing. You're not sitting alone on a bench because we just don't have the space to do that. So I think that like lends itself to just a warmer atmosphere that we have. It feels pretty welcoming.
A competition like Prairie Pump brings everyone together on the same day, climbing the same routes, having the same struggles. From the little kids to the serious competitors and everyone hanging out in between. It's just a great event to get everyone together, to hang out and have fun. My reward is seeing the faces of the people during the comp, to see that community building, and to have a part in building that.
Without like this place or without the people that are a part of this climbing gym, there would be many times where I probably wouldn't be doing so well. When I was at my lowest, you know, I was told that climbing will always be here for you, and that stuck with me ever since. But yeah, 2015, like that would have been my first comp. My best friend Dylan, his name's Dylan too, which is funny as hell. Him and I had just like started climbing maybe a year before that. I remember us competing here, and like there's old footage of him and I like high-fiving and just like cheering each other on. But it's moments like that, like I made this lifetime friend because of climbing, and he will always be my friend, right? But yeah, it's changed a bit, but I think it's still like that for people. I think people are still stoked.
I don't get out and climb as much as I used to, or I would like to, anymore. And so I love being at the competitions and having a hand in that to help be a part of the community still.
I think having volunteers is hands down the most important part of doing this, or having people who are just excited to be a part of all these things, right? It kind of gets you more attached to these things that we do. It makes you feel in a different way than competing.
I mean, if you hear Prairie Pump, if you can hear the crowd at Prairie Pump, you can hear the screaming and the yelling, and it's all supportive and so encouraging, and everyone just wants to like get stoked and keep each other stoked. So it's pretty cool, yeah.